Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, it's Kevin. Today, to mark the end of Season 4 of Attack on Titan, I'm gonna make a small diorama. I'm gonna use this model that's from O Forsaken on Thingiverse. So there is Annie in Giant and Misaka and Eren attacking her. So that's a pretty cool diorama. The legs are cut on Annie, so this is not the whole model, but that's fine. I'm just gonna have the top part. And I'm just going to try to make something cool and simple, so let's go. Okay, so let's start with the Titan Annie. So this one, I've autoed the model first. I've cut the two hands to make sure I could scale the model the biggest possible on the photon. I'm going to drill my hole at the bottom. And it was not super hard to support. I just had a bunch of support at the bottom of the feet here, and then some structure support around the arms. The annoying part was all the hair hanging out one by one. A lot of them were floating for a while on the side, so I did my best. I've used a lot of really tiny support. I've tried to spider webs around, make sure everything was supported and not too hard to clean later on. Here for the next part I have the two arms, so those ones were really easy, straight up, a couple of support. The tough part was Mikasa and Eren. Those two, like, they're really high detail characters, but I'm gonna print them really tiny, around 28 mil, so all the details, they kind of need to be supported, but at the same time they're not gonna come out nicely, so I use a lot of tiny support. I had to reprint a couple of times because even like when I was peeling off the support, I broke a sword or something, so you have to be careful on those ones. Okay, so I have a bunch of stuff printed and ready to go. So here for Eren and Mikasa, they came out pretty nicely. The blades are a little bit flimsy and curving around. I've tried to like curve them back with some resin and stuff, but they're really thin. It's hard to change the shape, so they're gonna stay like this. That's fine, I don't mind too much. The problem is they're really tiny. I'm gonna do my best when I paint and try to have the most detail possible, but the scale is not like Eric scale or stuff like this. Everything is really realistic. A lot of tiny detail, like the cable, they kind of broke around, so that's okay. I'm gonna do my best on those ones. Then we got Annie, everything is fine. The hair were a bit of a pain to like support and make sure everything was okay. I had to fix some part a little bit, but the overall model is good. I filled the gap on the arm and stuff, so everything is ready to paint. I'm gonna have a lot of fun on this one, I think. And last part, I have my base ready to go. Here I have those kind of like swoosh of hair, if I can say, like when they jetpack from the back, so I'm gonna use one of them to like make sure the character can stand up on some part. And I have 2 trees that I'm gonna put around as well, so they're still drying. I've put some paste on it and stuff, so I'm gonna show you in the painting process. Let's go. Talking about those 3, I lost the footage of the start, I'm not sure why. Basically what I had is I printed the trunk. I added a couple of wires on top to have more branches, and then I've glued some moss and I've coated everything with PVA and paint. The effect is not the best, but with what I had it's okay, so I'm just gonna paint a bunch over, dry brush, some really easy technique. I'm just trying to get a decent effect for those ones. The 2 characters were, I didn't spend too much time on it. The base coat were almost the same for both of them, so I did them one by one, one after the other, and when all my base coat were done, I'm just gonna apply some wash over for the start. I'm gonna apply 2 coats of wash. Make sure you don't let everything pool, don't have some dirty stuff happening. Just control the flow of the wash and it's gonna be fine. The render is gonna be decent. There's a lot of tiny details on those ones, so the wash is pretty helpful as well. Then when it was dry, I did the two emblems of the Scout here, the, what's the name, the Freedom, the Wings of Freedom. And there is one on the back of the jacket and one at the front on the pocket. So I'm just doing nothing fancy, quick logo over. And same for the highlights, I didn't go crazy. I went really bold and bright. I should have spent maybe a bit more time to not make it as ugly as right now, but that's okay. Now let's go for the beast, literally. And I'm starting with the hair, the base coat. The reason is like I really need to get in, like there is a lot of hair hidden behind another one, so I've really went inside with the brush, make sure I had some base coat inside the head, so to speak. So when I was done, I started to base coat then all the muscles and the red part of the Titan. I use a dark red, but on the bright primer here it's a bit pinkish, but that's fine. I'm just gonna do a couple of coats. Here I'm using a long brush to get inside. It's hard to paint around the eyes, but I'm gonna have to get in there a couple of times. So I'm tracing some of those red lines as well, like around the skin there is some kind of gap, those lines. So I've looked at a bunch of images and tried to replicate everything on the, where is it on the image. So after everything was outlined, I'm just gonna paint the inside now, having my base coat done. And the fun part and tedious part is gonna start. I'm just gonna have to do a lot of texture and like all the fibers gonna have to pop out. So I'm just gonna go brighter and brighter with more different kind of red, and I'm just gonna have a lot of brush stroke around. The goal is to like have the texture covering one on top of the other, and you want to follow all the line of the body as well. So you don't want to be in the wrong direction, you want everything to be organic and follow the muscles. Here the core is tightening on the front, so you just follow again the line. And having some reference images is really helpful as well, if you're not sure of what you're doing. And it's just gonna be a long process. It's still fun, I still enjoyed some of it, and I'm trying to add more texture, more line, more color. I'm just gonna have some salmon color after, a bit orange as well, and trying to brighten everything, have more texture and a bit of shadows and highlight as well. It took me a while, but it was still a good time painting these ones. Okay, so now as you can see I'm done with all the muscles. I've tried to put the brighter color on the inside, kind of like around the skin, and the effect is pretty cool. So now I start to paint the skin. Here I'm going a bit dark. I've wanted to try some stuff to paint over, but it just cost me a lot of time painting all those things, so it was annoying. Here I'm going over with a brighter color. It took me a while again, thank you video editing. And when I had my base coat good, I'm just dry brushing over. So what I want my skin to be lighter, and I want some texture as well. And I'm doing the same for the skin. I'm following the shape of the bodies and everything. So when I dry brush, I make sure I follow all the muscles. then at the end I'm taking a bigger brush and now I'm trying to apply some spotlight on top of certain parts. Didn't add some really like bright highlights, so that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, now for the hair, let's speed up a little bit. I'm just doing some brighter yellow and then some kind of palish bone color after on top, trying to define some simple light, nothing crazy. And when I was done, time to glue the whole thing together, the tree, the Titan. Now I'm adding my cable, so those kind of grappling stuff coming out. So I'm just taking some like swing thread, I'm gluing on the side of the character, and then I'm just gonna glue everything on the Titan. It was really like tiny things, but I've made it. And that's it for the diorama. This one was pretty cool. I'm really happy with the result. I think it's looking really nice. Painting the Titan was really cool. I think the design, first of all, is just really nice. The model was really good as well. So trying to mimic the muscles and all the tissue coming from the Titan around was really nice. I could have spent more time on it, trying to refine more and more, having thinner texture, but it took me a while already. When you have a tall model, you're spending a lot of time just coating over and over. I should have maybe started a bit lighter on my color to avoid doing a lot more coat, but that's fine. I'm still happy with the results. The effects are okay. I used like the Q-tip cotton around to mimic the smoke. It's not perfect, it's the first time that I tried, but I think the effect is still here, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So if you enjoyed the video, subscribe and like, and see you next time. Bye.